Do you struggle to keep your mind in the present? Do you feel like the day goes by without you noticing? Buddhism teaches us that mindfulness is not something practiced only in meditation, but in every step we take. In this video, you'll discover how to bring mindfulness to your daily life to reduce stress, improve your focus, and live each moment with more depth. Mindfulness begins with a single moment of awareness. If you're ready to live more present, give this video a like, subscribe for more mindful living tips, and let's begin this journey together. What is mindfulness and why is it important? Mindfulness, or being present, may seem very simple, but it's actually one of the most powerful and transformative practices that exist. It's about being completely attentive to what you're doing, thinking, or feeling without distractions, without judgments, and without being trapped in the past or anticipating the future. The problem is that most of the time we're on autopilot. We do things without realizing it. We react without thinking, we eat without tasting, we listen without hearing, and many times we end the day without really knowing how we lived it. This disconnection generates stress, anxiety, mental fatigue, and a constant feeling of emptiness. Buddhism proposes mindfulness as a way to break with that autopilot. Being present doesn't mean that we must control everything or be hyper-alert. It's rather a way of returning to the present moment again and again with kindness and curiosity. And by doing so, it changes our way of relating to everything, to what we think, to what we feel, to people, to our environment. Practicing mindfulness is not disconnecting from the world. It's connecting in a more real way. It means that when you're walking, you walk. When you eat, you eat. When you talk, you listen. It seems obvious, but we don't do it. We're so distracted that it's common to do several things at the same time with fragmented attention without really being in any of them. When you're present, everything becomes clearer. You can notice what you feel without rejecting it or exaggerating it. You can respond instead of reacting. You can enjoy the simple things more. A conversation, a sip of water, a song. Everything becomes sharper when you're not trapped in 1,000 thoughts at once. Moreover, mindfulness gives you space between what happens and your response. There is a moment. That small space is the place where you can choose how to act. It's not magic, it's practice. And the more you train that presence, the easier it becomes to find that space, even in the midst of chaos. The most interesting thing is that you don't need anything special to start, just the willingness to be where you are. You don't need to sit meditating for hours. You can practice mindfulness while washing dishes, while showering, while talking to someone. You just need to remember, I am here. This is what's happening. I'm going to be with this. Mindfulness doesn't seek for everything to be perfect or for there to be no pain or difficulty, but it does allow you to experience it differently, with more serenity, with more clarity, with less unnecessary noise. And that, in a world full of rush and distractions, is a profound form of freedom. Simple techniques to start with mindfulness. Starting to practice mindfulness doesn't require special knowledge or changing your whole routine. What you need is intention and consistency. It's about incorporating small, conscious acts into your day that help you be more present little by little, without pressure. A very effective technique is anchoring yourself to your breathing. You can do it at any time. You just have to stop for a few seconds and observe how air enters and leaves. You don't have to modify it or control it, just feel it. This practice takes you out of mental noise and brings you back to your body, to the present. Do it at the beginning of the day, before an important conversation, or when you notice you're accelerated. Another simple technique is to choose a daily activity and do it with full attention. It can be brushing your teeth, having your coffee, closing the door when you leave. The idea is to do that action with total presence. Notice every movement, every sensation. It doesn't matter if it's something small. What matters is being there without distractions. You can also use your senses as a gateway. Stop for a few seconds and ask yourself, what am I seeing? What do I hear? What am I touching? Is there any smell or taste present? This sensory scanning takes you out of your mind and connects you with your surroundings. It's very useful in moments of anxiety or when you feel you're too much in your head. A powerful practice is the conscious pause. Several times a day, stop for a moment. Cease doing what you're doing, breathe, observe how you are. It's not about doing anything special, but giving yourself a space to reconnect with yourself. Just that gesture can change the rhythm of your day. You can also write. Take a notebook and write down how you feel, what you're thinking, what you noticed in yourself today. Writing helps you put clarity in what's happening inside, to take distance without disconnecting. You don't need to write a lot. A few lines are enough. And of course, there's the conscious walk. Instead of walking in a hurry or distracted, do it with attention. Feel how your feet touch the ground, how your body moves, how your breathing changes. You can do it on the street, at home, or in a park. It's a very simple way to practice presence in movement. The most important thing is not to demand too much of yourself. You don't need to do it perfectly. The mind will get distracted, and that's okay. The essential thing is that every time you notice, you return. That returning is the practice. Each return strengthens your ability to be present. With time, these small techniques become part of you, and without realizing it, you begin to live with more calm, with more clarity, with more connection. Not because everything changes outside, but because something very deep changes in how you are. Applying mindfulness in eating. Eating is one of the most common activities of our day, but many times we do it automatically, without thinking, without savoring, without noticing what we're really doing. Applying mindfulness to eating transforms something every day into a conscious, nutritious experience more connected with the body. When you eat with attention, you stop seeing food as just another task or as a simple response to hunger. You begin to notice the flavors, the textures, the colors. You feel when your body is truly hungry and when you're eating out of anxiety, boredom, or habit. That difference changes everything. One way to practice it is to start by observing the food before tasting it. Notice the details, how it looks, how it smells, what sensations it awakens in you. Then take the first bite slowly. It's not about eating slowly out of obligation, but about being present in the act of chewing, swallowing, and feeling. Instead of seeing food as a formality, you experience it as something real, moment by moment. It's also important to eliminate distractions. Try eating without screens, without checking your phone, without answering emails. Just you, your plate, and the moment. At first it may seem strange, even uncomfortable, but soon you'll notice something powerful. When you're present, you eat less, enjoy more, and better listen to your body's signals. Another useful technique is to take a brief pause before starting to eat. Breathe internally, thank for that food. Recognize the effort it took to have it there. You don't need to make a long ritual. A couple of seconds of awareness make a big difference. That moment connects you with gratitude and takes you out of autopilot mode. Mindfulness also helps you identify which foods make you feel good and which don't, because it's not just what you eat that matters, but how you eat it. When you're present, your digestion improves, your mind calms, and your relationship with food becomes more intuitive and less controlled by the mind. And when you eat in company, presence also matters. Listening, sharing, enjoying together, without each being in their own world. Eating is not just a physical necessity, it's also an emotional and social experience. Living it with attention strengthens bonds and reduces the stress that is often associated with family or group meals. This practice is not about perfection. There will be days when you eat in a hurry or distracted, and that's okay. The important thing is to remember that you can always return, always reconnect with your body, with your food, with the moment. By eating with full attention, you not only feed your body, you also feed your presence. And that presence, taken to other moments of the day, changes the way you relate to everything. How mindfulness improves interpersonal relationships. Our relationships are often affected not by what we say or do, but by the way we are not present. Listening to someone while thinking about something else, speaking without observing how the other person feels, reacting without really understanding what's happening. All this creates distance. Mindfulness, when applied to relationships, completely changes the quality of bonds. Being present with someone doesn't mean having long, deep conversations all the time. Sometimes it's just about looking into the eyes when they speak to you, putting the phone aside, taking a pause before responding. These small gestures say a lot. They say, I'm with you, I'm listening to you, what you say matters to me. When you practice mindfulness in a conversation, you truly listen. You're not waiting for your turn to speak. You're not planning your response. You're not drawing conclusions in advance. You're there with an open mind, attentive to the words and also to what is not said, the gestures, the tone, the silence. This not only improves understanding, it also reduces misunderstandings. Many discussions arise because we're not really understanding the other, but interpreting from our emotional or mental state. Presence allows there to be a space where the other can express themselves without feeling judged or rushed. Also, by being more attentive to our own emotions during an interaction, we can respond more calmly. If someone says something that would normally upset you, mindfulness allows you to notice that reaction in your body, in your mind, and decide if it's worth responding from impulse or from clarity, and that choice, repeated many times, strengthens relationships. It also helps us detect when we are present and when we are not. You can notice when you're closing yourself off, when you're getting distracted, when you're using dialogue as defense and not as a bridge. And by noticing it, you can return to the moment, to listening, to connection. Mindfulness in relationships also applies in pleasant moments. Being completely there when you share a meal, a laugh, a walk, strengthens the bond because you're living the moment, not just passing through it. And that leaves a mark. People feel when you're really there, and that presence has more value than 1,000 words. It's not about being the perfect friend, partner, or family member. It's about being present, and that presence, though it may seem simple, transforms. Because when someone feels that you're seeing them, listening to them, and accepting them without distraction or judgment, something very powerful is generated. Trust. Practicing mindfulness in relationships is not an effort, it's a choice. And that choice, repeated day after day, turns bonds into spaces of growth, support, and real presence. Mindfulness in the work environment. Work is one of the spaces where we spend the most time, but also where we most easily disconnect. The rush, multiple tasks, meetings, constant notifications all push the mind to disperse. Practicing mindfulness in this environment not only improves your performance, it also reduces stress and transforms the way you experience your workday. One of the keys is to start the day with intention. Before opening emails or going into automatic mode, take a few minutes to breathe, review your priorities, and define how you want to be present that day. This initial pause sets the rhythm. It's not about doing more things, but doing them with more clarity. During work, choose moments to reconnect. It could be before starting an important task, between one meeting and another, or when you notice you're saturated. Just a few seconds to stop, observe how your body is, your mind, your breathing. That pause, though brief, breaks the cycle of accumulated tension. It's also useful to focus on one task at a time. Multitasking disperses the mind and increases fatigue. Instead, when you decide to concentrate completely on a single activity, your attention sharpens and results improve. Plus, you finish earlier and with less wear. Applying mindfulness in work conversations is also key. Listening with presence, responding without impulse, noticing how you feel when someone speaks to you or when you present your ideas. You're training not only your concentration, but also your emotional intelligence. And that shows. You can even integrate this practice into your breaks. Instead of eating in front of the screen or checking your phone non-stop, make your rest a conscious moment. Walk, breathe, eat with attention. It's not about using work to be in Zen mode, but about breaking with the automatic routine that is so exhausting. And when moments of tension arise, because they will, mindfulness allows you to respond from a more stable place. Notice the pressure without letting it drag you. Recognize anger without acting from it. Realize that not everything is as urgent as it seems. That clarity in the midst of chaos is one of the greatest advantages of this practice. The work environment doesn't have to be a place of constant stress. It can also be a space to practice presence, clarity, and balance. You don't need to change jobs to change your way of working. You just need to be more present in what you do, in how you do it, and in what you feel while doing it. Attending with full awareness is not doing less, it's doing better. With a more centered mind, you make better decisions, communicate with more clarity, and end the day less exhausted. Mindfulness is not a luxury. It's a tool to take care of your mind while you do what you do. Overcoming common obstacles in daily practice. Practicing mindfulness sounds simple, but in daily life it's not always easy. The mind disperses, distractions appear, we forget to be present or feel that we're not doing it right. These obstacles are normal, and knowing them is part of the journey. The key is not to avoid them, but to know how to face them. One of the most common obstacles is impatience. We want quick results, to feel calmer, more focused, more in control. But mindfulness is not an instant solution. It's training. Like any skill, it requires repetition, time, and a lot of kindness toward oneself. Don't expect everything to change in a week, but you can notice small changes if you practice consistently. Another obstacle is constant distraction. We live in an environment that pushes the mind to be in 1,000 places at once. And when you try to concentrate or be present, it may seem that the mind becomes noisier. In reality, it's not that there's more distraction, it's that now you're noticing it, and that's progress. Observing the distraction without judging it is already being present. Doubt can also appear. Am I doing it right? Does this serve any purpose? Am I really present, or do I just think I am? These questions are part of the process. The answer is simple. If you're making the effort to return to the present, even if for seconds, you're already practicing. There's no perfect way, just sincere. Practice boredom is another frequent obstacle. Since mindfulness is simple, it may seem uninteresting, but if you keep at it, you begin to see the richness of what you previously overlooked. Each breath, each step, Each everyday gesture has details that are only revealed when you're really there. There's also emotional discomfort. Being present sometimes means seeing what you don't want to see, tensions, fears, frustrations, but that discomfort is part of the awakening. It's not about rejecting it, but observing it calmly. You're learning to be with yourself, even when what you feel is not pleasant. That emotional strength is cultivated with practice. Finally, there's forgetfulness. You simply forget to practice, and that's okay. You can use visual reminders, phrases, sounds, pauses in your routine to reconnect. Every time you remember to return, even if hours or days have passed, you're strengthening your practice. Overcoming these obstacles doesn't mean eliminating them, but relating to them from another attitude. Instead of fighting against distraction, you use it as a signal to return. Instead of getting frustrated for forgetting, you're grateful that you remembered. Mindfulness doesn't require perfection. It requires presence. Each obstacle is an opportunity because it teaches you something about your mind, about your habits, about how you function. And if you take advantage of it, even the most dispersed days become part of your journey. The connection between mindfulness and stress management. Stress is part of life. It's not about eliminating it completely, but learning to manage it in a healthier and more conscious way. And that's where mindfulness becomes a very powerful tool. Doesn't change what happens to you, but it does change how you experience it. When you're stressed, the mind accelerates, enters survival mode, fills with repetitive thoughts, imagines the worst, projects itself into the future with fear, or gets stuck in the past. And from there, everything feels more intense, more urgent, more overwhelming. The first thing mindfulness does is interrupt that cycle. By stopping and returning to the present, even for a few seconds, you create space. That space is fundamental. It allows you to breathe, observe how you are, feel which part of the body is tense, recognize which emotion is most active. You're no longer inside the whirlwind. You're looking at it from outside, and that alone changes a lot. With practice, you learn to detect the early signs of stress, that contracture in the neck, that knot in the stomach, that impatience that appears without reason. Instead of ignoring them or moving forward in a hurry, you can stop, breathe, and take a different action. It's not about avoiding stress, but responding to it with more wisdom. Mindfulness also helps you not get hooked on thoughts that feed stress. It's not necessary to fight against them or try to think positively by force. Just observe them without giving them so much energy. Thoughts like, "I won't be able to handle this," or "everything is going to go wrong," lose strength when you see them for what they are, ideas, not absolute realities. Moreover, by living more in the present, we stop anticipating problems that don't yet exist. A large part of stress comes from thinking about future scenarios that haven't even occurred. When you stay in the here and now, your energy concentrates on what you can do right now, and that gives you a sense of control, even if they're small things. Another important effect is that mindfulness lowers the internal rhythm. It doesn't change the external rhythm, the deadlines, the responsibilities, the demands, but it does change how you face them. From a more centered state, you make better decisions, communicate with more clarity, and wear yourself out less. Practicing mindfulness doesn't mean that stress disappears, but it does transform your relationship with it. Instead of being dragged by it, you recognize it, handle it, go through it with more calm, and that gives you power. Not the power to control everything, but the power to not lose yourself in the midst of chaos. Living with less stress is not living without challenges, it's living with more presence. And from that presence, everything that seems difficult becomes a bit more manageable. Creating a sustainable mindfulness routine. Mindfulness is not about special moments or isolated practices. For it to truly transform your life, it must become part of your day-to-day. And that's not achieved with great efforts, but with simple, constant and realistic steps. What's important is not how long you practice, but that you do it regularly. Start by choosing a fixed moment in your day to be present. It could be upon waking, during a meal, before sleeping, or in a brief break at work. You don't need to change your whole routine. Just find a space that already exists and use it as an anchor. 5 minutes of real presence are worth more than a forced hour. Make it easy. You don't need to sit in a perfect posture or have a silent environment. You can practice while walking, while washing dishes, or while waiting for the bus. Every moment is an opportunity. The important thing is to remember, right now I can be here with this. Rely on reminders. You can leave a written word where you'll see it frequently. Present, here, pause. You can also use sounds like a soft alarm or a notification. Ring, not to react, but to stop for a second and breathe. These small gestures help you not forget. Be flexible. There will be days when you practice more, and others when you barely can. It doesn't matter. Consistency is not rigidity, it's returning again and again. Even if you forget all day, if at the end you remember and take a single conscious breath, you're already practicing. And above all, maintain a kind attitude toward yourself. Don't seek to do it perfectly. Don't criticize yourself if your mind wanders. Don't get frustrated if you feel you're not advancing. Every attempt counts. Every time you choose to be present, you're cultivating a new way of living. Mindfulness is not a goal, it's a path that is built with small daily steps, with intention, with presence. And when you least expect it, you discover that your way of living has changed, that there's more calm, more clarity, more space between what happens and what you do. Thank you for joining us on this journey toward a more conscious life. If this video helped you, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to continue learning together. And if you have a personal experience or a technique that works for you, share it in the comments. We all learn from each other. With gratitude, Daily Dharma.